Om Dakshinasya Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryanta Smarya Guru Parampara Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaran Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वेदान्तडिण्डिमास्तत्त्वम् एकम् उद्घोषयन्ति यत् आस्तां पुरस्तात् तत्तेजः दक्षिणामूर्तिसन्निधम्। So now we are almost, coming to very close to the end of this entire text, which is of 95 verses, and we are right now actually in the 67th verse. And in the last session, we saw in detail the actual Vedantic teaching. That is the central, the core teaching of Vedanta, which is Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So that was what was talked about in the 67th verse, which said, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, Jivan Muktastu Tadvidvan, Iti Vedantadindimah. Tadvidvan, that Vidvan, okay, is Jivan Muktaha. Jivan Muktaha tu Tadvidvan. Verily, definitely, the knower of that knowledge, that Vidvan, who knows this Vedantic teaching, which is the ultimate teaching of each and every Upanishad. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That means that which is the existence, consciousness principle, that which is the adhishtanam of this Vyashti Jiva and the Samashti Jagat, is ultimately the one which is the real, the absolute reality. That is the only reality. What is the meaning of absolute? That means there is one and only. See, we say Brahman is Anantam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, correct? Anantam means infinite. Infinite. Nothing finite in it. Infinite. Infinite plus 1 also is infinite. Infinite minus 1 also is infinite. Correct? Infinite plus anything also, any amount you add, it's infinite. Infinite minus anything also is infinite. What is the meaning of infinite? I think it's self-explanatory. There's nothing that can be added to it. Nothing that can be deducted from that. Isn't it? Purnamadaha. Okay, that is Purnam, Purnatva, Anantatvam, Purnatvam. There's nothing that it lacks. Nothing can make it bigger. Nothing can make it smaller. Infinite means unlimited. How many infinites can be there, you tell me? This is a common sense, right? Infinite means there is only one infinite. That which encompasses everything. Everything is encompassed in that. There cannot be two infinites, isn't it? If there are two infinites, then one infinite is going to limit the other. And then you cannot call it infinite at all. Only finite things can limit other finite things. A finite thing cannot limit infinite. So when we say anantam, purnatvam, ekam, because of it being infinite, it is ekam. Only infinite can be one and only, isn't it? That which is finite is many. Because this whole universe is finite. Every name and form object in the universe is finite. Therefore, finites are many. Infinite is only one. So when you say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, that infinite existence, infinite consciousness means only one existence, one consciousness, which is infinite. No limits. Finite means that which is limited. Infinite or infinite means that which is not limited by anything. Limitless existence, limitless consciousness can be only one. Ekam Brahma. Ekam Advitiyam Brahma. Ekam Yeva Advitiyam Brahma. See, three things are there here. Ekam Yeva Advitiyam. There is one. Yeva, only. Advitiyam, without a second. Of course, there are other explanations given also for this. This is not the right context for that. What is the meaning of ekam? What is the meaning of yeva? Ekam, evam, advitiyam. What is the meaning of evam? What is the meaning of advitiyam? How these three things mean what? Of course, that we can talk about it in some other context which is going to be relevant to this. So what he said, Brahma Satyam, naturally, anything which is infinite, anything which is one and only, anything which is beyond time and space, anything which is not limited by anything, and that which pervades everything. That's why Lord Krishna said, Maya tatam idam sarvam. I am as consciousness pervading everything. All pervading existence, consciousness is only one. There's nothing more than that. So naturally, it has to be the only truth, isn't it? Anything finite is not the truth. So therefore, Brahma Satyam. Jagan Mithya, Jagat is finite. So whenever there is anything finite, it is limited by something else, right? Let us take this body, mind, sense complex. This body, which I am so much attached to, so much entangled with, thinking that this is the only reality. So much so that I think I am this body. And I can't even accept that this body is mortal, someday it's going to disappear. And my fear is that one day this body will disappear. What will happen? I don't want to die. I don't want to go anywhere. I know a person who's 95, almost bedridden, who says, I don't want to go up there. I want to be here only. Why? I'm scared. Scared of what? Scared of going there, leaving this body. This is the understanding and expression of a 95-year-old person who's literally bedridden for last so many years, totally dependent on others. See the amount of attachment to the body. See the amount of entanglement with the body. See the fear, so much of fear of losing this body. Why? Because, why is this fear? Because this body is limited. Limited by time. Every day I'm getting older. We saw already the 6 urmis, Shad urmis. Jara, Vyadhi, Mrityu. Can't avoid it. That's the fear. Once I start getting into my 50s, I'm worried. Yo, how my body will start aging. How can I age gracefully? Now there are so many, people who are taking classes, giving you so many kinds of medicines to be forever young. What is going to be young? This body. Can anything keep it like that? No. It is the natural dharma of this body that jara, roga, mrityu. Since it is limited, since it's finite, it's always limited by time, always limited by space, always limited by other objects. Correct? This body is limited by all the other bodies. This body is limited by even whatever is there around me. I'm not everywhere. Correct? I'm only here. I'm sitting here. If I want to go from here to there, I have to get up, walk, and go there. So I'm limited by time, limited by space. This much is the space I am sitting, limited by this space. As long as I sit here, yes, but I'm limited by space. Correct? So any finite thing is limited by time, space, and other object. Therefore, we call any finite thing as desha, kala, vastu, parichinna. Parichinna means limited. Fine. The whole universe is finite. Correct? Though we may say the whole universe is so big, but this universe is not one single unit. Remember that. It is multiple things put together, isn't it? This universe is multiple things put together, of course, run in an order. There is some order in this universe. There is something called as Ishvara, the laws of which are running this thousands of things, millions of things put together in a particular order. Like the body is run, the body is made up of multiple parts, but there is some intelligence which runs this body perfectly. Right? So, the whole universe is finite. When something is finite, it is limited. So, the whole universe is limited by time, by space, by other objects. Vikara is a part of a finite thing. Anything which is put together, anything which is avayavi, made up of multiple parts, is likely to disappear. Right? So the whole world is a changing world, a changing universe. And ultimately, this whole universe, at the end of a certain period, maybe long period, compared to the lifespan of this body, it may be, unfathomable. Millions of years, but still one day it is going to go. Therefore, Jagat is mithya. Because of its finiteness, because of its finite nature, because of its multiple things having been put together. Because the Jagat is limited by time, space, and other objects. Because the very natural dharma of this universe is constant change and disappearance. Therefore, this Jagat, being finite, and associated with all these dharmas which we talked about, it is mithya. Temporarily enjoyed, experienced, okay, transacted with, like this body, isn't it? Right now it is Satyam, it's experienced by me. Where was it before it came? It was nowhere. Where will it be after it is gone? No, nobody knows where it is. So, anything which belongs to this universe, anything which is anatma, is finite, limited, associated with dharmas means attributes of, or of the nature of constant change and disappearance. At a point in time, the world may appear real, but it is only for that moment it is real. But then the next moment it is not so, isn't it? What I did in the morning, it's no longer there now. Now, is it Satyam or Mithya? Is it reality? Is it absolute reality? Then it should have stayed even till now also. No, it's not there, isn't it? So, does it mean that it was not there? Was the morning not there? I did so many things till now. Was it not there? It was there at that time. Now it is not there. Therefore, that which is experienced for a short period of time as a reality, but not the ultimate reality, and that which disappears, going through the changes of limitation, is mithya. And the entire Jagat is a finite, limited, ever changing, ever disappearing entity. And every object in this universe is the same thing. So it is that. So Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha means now the upadhi of Jiva being a part of the world disappears. But I, the existence consciousness, is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Ekameva Advitiyam. What is the adhishtanam of this whole universe, including Ishvara? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Ekameva Advitiya Brahman. So, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That means that content which is permanent, infinite, that which is not affected by any kind of a limitation or change, is this consciousness which is Brahman, which is the adhishtanam of the Jiva, the Jagat, and Ishvara. Therefore, who am I? Jivaha Brahmaiva Naparaha. I, the Jiva, is Brahman only, na paraha, not anything else. Jiva is Brahman, not anything else. And the knower of this knowledge, Tadvidvan Jivan Muktaha, not affected by anything that happens in the ever changing Anatma Jagat. Though the world remains the same, mind you, for a Jnani, for a Jivan Mukta, nothing changes. The world remains the same. People around him remain the same. No change. His bodily afflictions remain the same. Nothing changes. Then what changes? His perception changes. I am not this Anatma. I have nothing to do with this Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. I am not affected by the Anatma universe. This Samyak Darshanam or Jnanam makes the person a Jnani or a Jivan Mukta. He lives free. Muktaha means free. Jivan Yeva Muktaha. Without the Kartritva Abhimana, without the Bhoktritva Abhimana, without the fear and anxiety of what is going to happen to me, without any kind of a regret or guilt or shame of whatever has happened earlier, living a life of dharma as per the sankalpa of Ishvara, that is a Jivan Mukta. And then we went to the 68th verse also. I'm taking a little longer time for these verses because we have a lot of time. We are not having any kind of a deadline for Vedanta. One should not have actually. Vedanta is not something which we should get into with a deadline. It's an ongoing process. And this also is right now, of course, as long as, Ishvara permits, this is going to be a process till, because everything has to end. This also has to end. So, as long as it goes on, let us take it very, very, easy, slow, understand things, because Swamiji is very particular that we go deeper into Vedanta this time in this series, whatever we are taking. So the 68th verse also we saw, Anama Rupam Sakalam Sanmayam Chinmayam Priyam Kuto Bheda Kuto Bandha Iti Vedantadindimah. So ultimately, what is the nature, the Swarupam of this entire Jagat then? Namarupa Maya Jagat is there. Then what is the ultimate, the real nature of this Namarupatmakam Jagat? Anama Arupa. This Namarupa Jagat is nothing but Anama Arupa Sanmaya Chinmaya Priyam Jagat. Sakala means this entire thing. So what is this Anatma then? So we have now described what is Brahman, what is Atma. We have also described then what this Anatma is. What is the status of this Anatma? Anatma is names and forms we saw, but ultimately what is behind this Anatma Jagat is nothing but Sanmayam, Chinmayam, Priyam, Sakalam, Jagat. Behind the Nama Rupa Mithya, whatever is there is nothing other than Anamarupa Sanmaya Chinmaya Priyam Jagat. That's why we call Sarvam Brahmamayam Jagat. Sarvam Ishvaramayam Jagat. What is the meaning of that? That means behind all these Namarupas, as a solid support, Adhara Adhishtanam, as the very subtlest constituent or content of this entire Anatma. Anatma Jagat includes body, mind, sense complex. Please don't forget it. I am not different from the world. This body, mind, sense complex is not different from the world. It is the very same. Therefore, what he says is Sanmayam, Chinmayam, Priyam, Jagat, Anama Rupam. Therefore, Kuto Bhedaha Kuto Bandhaha. Where is the Bheda? There is no Bheda. What is the Bheda between me and you? Upadi Bheda, that's all. You may be a male, I may be a female. You may be 75, I may be 69. You may be 6 feet tall, I may be 5 feet 5 inches tall. All these Bhedas are what? Take any number. Between me and you, there can be any number of Bhedas. What are all those Bhedas? They all belong to the body, mind, sense complex. So, if this is Mithya, and my real Swarupam is Anam, Arupa, and I'm this entire body is nothing but, this entire body, mind, sense complex is nothing but Sanmayam, Chinmayam, Priyam. Okay? Behind this body, mind, sense complex, there is only that Ekam, Eva, Advitiya, Atma, Brahma. Then Kuto Bhedaha. Why are we fighting? You are different from me. I am different from you. I belong to, a lower class, you belong to a privileged class, I belong to this, you belong to that, I'm this, I'm that. Why all that? Kuto bhedaha, kuto bandha. Where is the bandha? It is the anatma nama rupa which causes me bandha. Not really, it doesn't cause. I bind myself with nama rupa jagat. The nama rupa jagat being mithya, how can it bind me? Tell me. Anything which is mithya, how can it bind me? How can it affect me? A dream, does it really affect me? Can it affect me? Even the worst dream, a nightmare that I have, can it really affect me? It cannot. Right? The reality, the absolute truth, Paramarthika Satyam cannot bind me. Fine. Mithya Namarupa Jagat, being mithya, being limited, having no stuff like a paper tiger, can it bind me? It cannot bind me. Really speaking, nothing can bind me. Even the universe, with all its vagaries, all the dukkhas associated, it cannot bind me because it is mithya. Then what is it that is making me feel this bondage? Oh, I want a break. I want to get out of here for some time. I'm fed up of this. I want to leave this. I'm so sick of all this. I want to die. All this we listen, all this we hear, isn't it? What is it that is making me fed up, miserable, bound? Not the Anatma Jagat. Of course, not the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. No, it can never bind. Then what is it? It is my avidya. My avidya is binding me. What is my avidya? I don't know who I am. I take the Namarupa limited, Namarupa Jagat as the Satyam. That is what ultimately binds me. Nothing else. The bondage is created by me. I have to release myself from that bondage. Only Vedanta is going to tell me, look, this is the reason for your bondage. And you have to release it by yourself, only by this knowledge. Okay? There is a story, I don't know, I must have told you this. It seems if a person in a desert always used to take a camel throughout the day, to take his wares for his business across the desert. And in the night, he used to find a small post or something and, tie that camel to the, that particular post so that it doesn't run away or escape into the desert in the night. And then early morning, he would again, untie that from that post or whatever it is, whatever would be there where he could tie that. And then the camel would go with him. He would go with the camel. Once what happened was when he was, going, he didn't find in the night, it was darkness, night was falling and there was nothing for him to tie. There was nothing in that desert at that time to tie the camel. So he was wondering now what to do. Now, if this camel starts straying away, what to do? And he was worried about it. Then one more person was coming, taking his camel across. He asked him, why are you worried? He said, see, I have forgotten my pole, which I used to tie the camel, and I'm not finding anything here. So the other person told him, do one thing, just wherever your camel is, make an action, false action, act as if you are tying that camel, the rope bound to the camel to something. Just make that movement. How can then, will not the camel know? It will, definitely it says you do this, you see, it will not go away anywhere. So he did that. He just made as though he was tying it somewhere. Nothing was there. He had not tied the camel. And then he had told him. And then, yeah, in the morning, what happened was he started, nudging the camel. Get up, move, go, let's go. We have to go. The camel just wouldn't move. And he started beating it, everything, nothing. The camel wouldn't move. Then he suddenly realized, oh, the camel still thinks that it is bound, and it is used to getting that rope unbound for it to move. So again, he did the action of untying the camel. And now the camel thought, now I'm free, and started going. This is our bondage. Really speaking, Anatma doesn't bind us. We bind ourselves to the Anatma, imagining that Anatma is the reality. We depend on Anatma. We get entangled with Anatma, with Ahankara, Mamakara. That is my bondage. Anatma being mithya, how can it bind me? How can a shadow bind me? How can a reflection bind me? It cannot bind me, isn't it? And if you take the other thing, Atma, how can Atma bind me? It is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa. I am already free. Nothing can bind me, neither Atma nor Anatma. But my avidya, mixing up Atma and Anatma together, Mithuni Karanam, Sat and Anrit, Satya Mithya Mithuni Karanam I do because of my avidya, and my bondage is my avidya. And what does Vedanta do? It only tells me it is your avidya that is causing you this bondage. It shows me the mirror and tells me, look, you are not what you think you are. You are the ever free Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma. That's all it does. Vedanta does not teach me anything new. It only shows me my reality. How? It makes me see my own reality. It doesn't show me my reality. It makes me understand and see my reality. That's why Atma Jnanam is knowledge. It's not karma phala. It is not upasana phala. It is knowledge. So here he says, Kuto bheda kuto bandhaha. That's why Narada says in Bhuma Vidya, in Chandogya Upanishad, he says, Tarati shokam atmavit. Atmavit shokam tarati. The one who understands this, who is a Jivan Mukta, shokam tarati. Bhidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshaya. Kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Mundakopanishad. Very, very important verse which Bhagwan Shankaracharya refers to almost most of his bhashyas. One of the most beautiful mantras of the Upanishad talking about what is Jivan Mukti. Now, let us go to the 69th verse. Okay, so it says, Na satya kathate loko namadevyabhicharatah vatuh kulatah ityadehe iti vedantadindimah. So he says, Na satyah kathate lokah. This loka means this universe. Na satyaha. This is not the reality. We already saw that. It is mithya. We already saw that this jagat is mithya. Why? Nama dehe vyabhicharataha. We can say nama dehe means what? Nama rupa dehe vyabhicharataha. Nama dehe, nama etc. What is the etc. here? Rupa, that's all. There are only 5 things. Asti, bhati, priyam, nama, rupa. This whole universe is Panchakam. Asti, bhati, priyam, nama, rupam. Iti. This whole universe is Panchakam. 5. Fivefold. Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam. Asti, bhati, priyam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is Brahma Rupam. Jagat Rupam Tato Dvayam. Nama Rupam is Jagat Rupam. Asti Bhati Priyam is Brahma Rupam. Nama Rupam is Jagat Rupam. So names and forms are Jagat Rupa. Therefore, we have already seen that Nama and Rupa are mithya because of Vyabhicharataha, constantly changing. We saw that just now. I gave a very, very detailed explanation of Jagan Mithyatvam just at the beginning of this session. So he says, Na Satya Katate Lokaha Nama Dehe Vyabhicharataha. Nama Rupa Dehe Vyabhicharataha. Nama and Rupa are constantly changing. And he gives an example, a simple example. Vatuhu kulata ityadehe iti Vedantadindimah. Okay. So, Vatuhu, Brahmachari. Kulata means a bad person, isn't it? The names keep on changing, right? Oh, he was such a good person. Now somehow he has become very, very demonly person. When he was young, he was such a God-fearing person. Now suddenly he's become so adharmic. All people in his family or her family, they are such nice people. And I don't know, this person has suddenly become so totally unlike the others, isn't it? Huh? Oh my God, this person was so slim some time back. Suddenly now, so much weight he has put on. Right? How many times in a day we talk about things with Nama and Rupa which have changed? Correct? It's the change, yeah. Somebody was this earlier, now somebody is this thing. So much that person has changed. It was like this, now it is like this. I never thought you would change so much after coming to this place. You are so different when you were there. All these things we hear, isn't it? So it is bound to happen. Nobody is going to remain the same. Okay? None of our gunas are going to remain the same. Sometimes we are sattva pradhanas, sometimes we are rajo pradhanas, sometimes we are tamo pradhanas. We change constantly. So Rama Rupa Dehe Vyabhicharataha Lokaha Na Satyaha. That loka or jagat which is in the form of names and forms for appearance is not absolute reality because of constant change. Vatuhu kulata ityadi. I already said vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam. Words sometimes define or mean different things at different times. Vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam. Therefore, he says that this mithya jagat vyabhicharataha, because of the constant change. The author is giving a lot of importance to Jagan Mithyatvam. It seems, like my Vedanta Guru always used to say that probably Brahma Satyam is much easier to understand and assimilate. Okay? Whereas Jagan Mithyatvam is very, very difficult. I may say it, I may use that word, it may be my intellectual, verbal, very clearly I understand Jagan Mithyatvam. Yeah, very clear. But it's not that easy to really assimilate Jagan Mithyatvam. Okay? Just imagine that, an earthquake comes and my house just disappears. Or a big, like what happened in Uttarkashi and other places recently we saw. People just lost everything. They lost all their dwellings. Or somebody who's very close to me dies in an air crash or something like that. Is it Jagan Mithyatvam at that time? If that is there really, then yes, the mind responds to the loss because it's the mind. It's its dharma to respond, no doubt. The mind will feel sad, the mind will respond. But if Jagan Mithyatvam is absolutely assimilated, if the Samyak Darshanam is there about Jagan Mithyatvam, then even the greatest loss just becomes a temporary mental response and then it just disappears. That's what they say. That's what the jnanis say. I don't know. The jnanis say. And it is because whatever you say, our vasanas, our impressions are so strong about certain mamakaras and ahankaras, no? Very strong. Because over a period of millions and millions of lives, we have gotten this entanglement, attachment with the anatma, the ahankara, mamakara. Theoretically, yes, very easy. It's not really very easy, but over a period of time, over months and years of Shravanam and Mananam and niddhidhyasana, maybe it starts appearing as truth, yes, but to really assimilate Jagan Mithyatvam is far more difficult because there's such a strong vasanas, such strong impressions in our minds, the mamakara. It's not that easy. I know that the child is not me. I'm not the child. The child has its own independent prarabdha. It has come with its own blueprint. Everything I understand. This child is also Brahmarupam only Namarupa. But a parent who has lost the child knows the pain of it because that mamakara, in spite of the understanding that, our whatever samskaras are there, it's not easy. So, Jagan Mithyatvam needs more nididhyasana than Aham Brahma Satyam. Aham Satyam, Brahma Satyam, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Maybe it is a little easier, but Jagan Mithyatvam, to really assimilate, it is more nididhyasana. That is why many acharyas spend a lot of time on Jagan Mithyatvam. Like we have one Vairagya Shatakam, Bhartrihari's Vairagya Shatakam. 100 verses on the problems with this world outside. So that at least in 100 ways I learn the Vairagyam towards the world, so that my mamakara and ahankara dilutes a little. So here, that's why he's spending a lot of time on Jagan Mithyatvam. So now, 70th verse. Namarupatmakam vishvam indrajalam vidurbudhaha anamatvadarupatvad iti vedantadindimah. Same thing which you saw in the 69th verse. The same thing is being talked about in the 70th verse also, in a little different way. It's not a repetition, but it's a reiteration to make Jagan Mithyatvam more easily assimilable. So he says, Namarupatmakam Vishwam Indrajalam. Indrajalam, magic. We must all see magic, really, I'm telling you. All of us, all Vedanta students, that's what my Vedanta Guru always used to say. All Vedanta students must attend magic shows off and on. Okay? Not once, again and again. To see the mithyatvam of magic. Who is the reality there? Magician is the reality. Whatever magic he weaves is, what is that? It is Vikshepa Shakti of the magician. He will do avarana for our intellects, our eyes, and he will portray a Vikshepa. Correct? He will do like this and a cigarette will come. He will do like this and money will fall. He will take out a hat and a pigeon flies out from there. So what are all these things? Indrajala, Maya Jala. This whole world is like that Maya Jala, he says. Namarupatmakam Vishwam Indrajalam Viduhu Buddha. Buddha means jnanis. Those who have understood the mithyatvam of Jagat. That's what we have been trying to see. Years and years and years of Vedanta, Shravanam, Mananam, Niddhidhyasanam, but Jagan mithyatvam still very, very shaky, very shaky. So, what he's saying here is Namarupatmakam Vishwam Indrajalam. Who knows this very clearly? Buddhaha Viduhu. Those who have clearly understood not only Brahma Satyam, understanding Brahma Satyam and not understanding Jagan Mithya means Brahma also is Satyam, Jagat also is Satyam. No, that's not the thing. Brahma Satyam, at the same time, Jagat Mithya is something, is what a Jnani clearly understands. Therefore, he says, Buddhaha Viduhu. All these Jnanis know what? Namarupatmakam Vishwam Indrajalam. Nothing is there. It's an empty package. It's like a projection of a movie. There is only one screen there. The movie is projected. The movie becomes so real. The names and forms in the movies, Namarupatmakam Jagat movie, correct? So much real that I myself literally get into that movie. I literally get into the skin of that hero or heroine. Okay. I cry with the heroine and hero. I hate the villain. Okay. I curse the villain. And as though it is real, and I'm experiencing the reality of the movie. And what is that? A mere projection. Who is there? Nobody is there. Just light and shadow, movements, colors, this and that, Namarupatmakam Jagat. The whole movie. Best example. Because in those days, movies were not there. That's why the example of Indrajalam is given. Indrajala or magic was there even in Vedic days, those days also. Here, there is a magician who weaves magic. Different types of magic he weaves. And therefore, what is that magic? Is it really there? No. Who is there? Only the magician. The magic emerges out of the magician, exists in magician, resolves back into the magician. Correct? Isn't it? Without the magician, there is no magic, no Namarupas. Similarly, Brahman or Atma, which is Anatma, Arupa Anama, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, in which the whole universe is projected, retained, resolved. So, Mayinam tu Ishvaraha, Mayam tu Prakritim Vidhi, Mayinam tu Maheshwaraha. The magician is Ishvara, and whatever is projected is Maya, Indrajalam, like the magician. So the Namarupas at that time look absolutely real, but nothing is there. You go behind the magician, you don't see the magic. You are there in front of the magician, you see the magic. Behind the magician, you don't see the magic. So that means what? The whole universe is Indrajalam, projection, vikshepa, through Maya, by this Mayi called as Ishvara. And ultimately, what is this? Behind this Nama Rupa, what is the reality? Anamatvad arupatvad iti Vedantadindimah. Really speaking, the whole universe is also Anama, Arupa, Ishvara. But the projection is so strong that the underlying adhishtanam is forgotten. When the movie is projected on the screen is not seen, only the projection is seen. When the Mayavi or the magician projects an Indrajala or magic, only the magic is seen. The magician we don't see. We see only the magic. Therefore, ultimately, really speaking, there is no Nama, there is no Rupa because it's a mere projection like a movie. Therefore, the Jagan Mithyatvam is explained here in another way. So, there is nothing like that. So, then the next one, 71st verse, he says, Abheda darshanam mokshaha samsaro bheda darshanaha sarva vedanta siddhantaha iti vedanta dindimaha. Sarva vedanta siddhanta. This is the samanvaya or summary of all the Upanishads. Siddhanta means Sarva Vedanta. Siddhanta means Sarva Vedanta Sara. That means Sarva Vedanta Vichara. That means the central teaching or all that is talked about by all the Upanishads. Sarva Vedanta summary or samanvaya. We call it samanvaya. Ultimately, the summary or the samanvaya of all Vedanta, that is all the Upanishads, is what? Abheda darshanam mokshaha. When I see everything as one, the many things as a mere appearance, one satyam jnanam anantam brahman as there is only that one thing, and all that I see as multiple or many is really not there. This is called as Abheda Darshanam Moksha. Abheda Darshanam is moksha. Bheda Darshanam then is samsara. We just discussed some time back. Abheda Darshanam is moksha. Bheda Darshanam is samsara. So the minute you see Bheda, one Bheda, we will not stop with one Bheda. There will be different Bhedas. I am different from you. I am different from him. I am different from her. I am different from every human being in this world. I am different from other animals. I am different. How many Bhedas do you want? Once the Bheda Buddhi comes, there will be millions and millions of Bhedas. There's no limit to Bhedas. And Bheda Drishti is what causes bondage. Okay? Bheda Drishti is samsara. Samsara means bondage. And samsara is not something which somebody binds me with. I am binding myself with things which are not true. I am binding myself with mithya and causing the samsara for myself. Therefore, samsara is also mithya. Really speaking, samsara is not satyam. Because Jagat doesn't really bind me. Atma though can never bind me because that is my reality. Then what is it that binds me? What is my samsara? My imagination. Why my imagination? Because I imagine to be bound by an imaginary universe. Why I do that? Because I don't see the imaginary name and form universe as imagined. I see it as the reality. That is the reason for my bondage or samsara. As long as I have Bheda Drishti, there is samsara. As long as I have Abheda Drishti. What is Abheda Drishti? I am not different from other jivas. I am not different from the Jagat. I am not different from Ishvara. When the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Bheda no longer is there in me, that is what is called as Abheda Darshanam. There is one consciousness behind me, the Jagat and Ishvara. This body mind Upadhi, the Upadhi of the other Jivas, the Upadhi of the entire universe, even the Upadhi of Ishvara is Nama Rupa Mithya. The form of Ishvara is Mithya. Each one of us can take different forms. No? Today I am doing, worship of Ganapati. Today for me that is. Tomorrow after some time somebody tells me you do this particular deity's worship, then I forget Ganapati and go to some other. So I'm not saying it is wrong. The form and the name that I'm giving to a particular deity is in reality the same consciousness. Okay, whether it is Ganesha, whether it is Devi, whether it is Krishna, whoever it is, whichever deity it is, ultimately what is there is only Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That's what he says. That's why there is an Upanishad saying that Mrityoho samrityum apnoti ya iha nana iva pashyati. The one who sees many here, the one who sees Bheda here, comes back again and again. Why? Because he is in the samsara. Being in the samsara, what does he do? Ajnana, kama, karma, karma phala. Coming back again and again and again and again. Therefore, the one who sees Bheda Darshanam comes back into this ever circulating samsara again and again and again. Okay? The Bheda Darshanam who sees. The one who sees Abheda. There is nothing. There is one infinite, unlimited consciousness, which is the only thing. And all these disappearing, changing things are within this. And I am that consciousness. I am the consciousness behind everything. I, the Jiva, the Jagat, the consciousness is the same. Ishvara, the consciousness is the same. This is Abheda Drishti. Jiva Ishvara Abheda, Jiva Brahma Abheda, Atma Brahma Abheda, all this. No Abheda whatsoever. This is Abheda Drishti, which is called as Mokshaha. And the one who has this Samyak Darshanam is Jivan Mukta. Nandantu sadhaka sarve vinashyantu vidushakaha avastha shambhavi mestu prasannostu gurus sada sarve bhavantu sukhinaha sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukham apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.